I'm back. So today, my next chapter book I'm going to read is Who Was Abraham Lincoln? We all know he was a president of the United States. But what did he do? What's he so known for? Let's see if the book tells us. I'm sure it will. All right. Oh, this isn't even a chapter yet, so this is just the beginning. Who was Abraham Lincoln? April 11th, 1865. After 4 terrible years, the American Civil War, the war between the North and South, was almost over. Now it was clear that the North would win. President Abraham Lincoln had fought the war to prevent the rebel South from leaving the Union. He wanted the country to stay one country, the United States of America. From the window of the White House, the president addressed the big crowd. Below, his 12-year-old son, Tad, was at his feet collecting the pages of the speech as the president dropped them to the floor. A man in the audience called out, "What shall we do with the rebels?" Someone answered, "Hang them." Before the president could answer, Tad piped up, "No, we must hang on to them." Sometimes Tad understood his father better than anyone else. President Lincoln wanted to hang on to the defeated Southern states. He wanted to make them feel that once again they were part of the Union. He wasn't interested in revenge. Lincoln was a remarkable president and a remarkable man. He hoped to turn his enemies back into his friends. Let's read on to Chapter 1 for today. Chapter 1, Life in a Log Cabin. The man who was often called America's greatest president was born on February 12, 1809, in a crude log cabin in Kentucky. 18 feet long and 16 feet wide. It had a dirt floor and no windows. So that's his son Tad, up in the corner there. And there's his log cabin. His father, Thomas Lincoln, was hard-working and quiet, and famous for his honesty. He had little schooling, just enough to sign his name. Abraham's mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was intelligent and curious. She could read a little, but couldn't write at all. The Lincolns were poor. They moved from one small farm to another, trying to scratch out a living. When Abraham was 7, the family moved from Kentucky to Indiana. One reason for the move was that Kentucky was a slave state, while Indiana was a free state. The Lincoln family hated slavery. Abraham later said that he was naturally anti-slavery, as far back as he could remember. Eventually, the Lincolns ended up on a tiny farm in Illinois. Even as small children, Abraham and his older sister Sarah worked hard. Abraham was tall and strong for his age. By the time he was 8, he could pick up an axe and split wood as well as any man. He also helped with the plowing and harvesting, but not hunting. When he was 7 years old, he shot a wild turkey and discovered that he hated killing things. When Abraham was 9, his mother died. It was a terrible loss for him and his sister. Thomas Lincoln couldn't raise the children by himself. Their home was miles from most other people. So he went back to Kentucky and returned with a new life. So on this map here, the shaded ones, that's the slave states. The ones not shaded are the slave-free, or the free slave states. And then there's Abraham Lincoln chopping wood. Sarah Bush Johnston was a widow with 3 children. She brought her furniture with her. Real beds, a table, and chairs that seemed like amazing. Look, did I miss one? Nope. Oh, sorry. I said life. I meant wife. Okay. She She brought her furniture with her, real beds, a table, and chairs that seemed like amazing luxurious to the Lincoln children. Much as he missed his own mother, Abraham quickly came to love Sarah. She encouraged all his interests. He called her Mama and was much closer to her than to his own father. Because of Sarah, Abraham remembered his childhood as a happy time. I'm just going to show you the picture real quick here. With so much work to do, there wasn't much time for schooling. Anyway, out in the wilderness, there weren't many schools. In Kentucky, Abraham got to an ABC school, where he had to learn the alphabet, but not how to read or write. In Indiana, he sometimes went to a blab school, a place where all the students said their lessons out loud together. The schoolmaster listened and tried to pick out their mistakes through the noise. Abraham finished with the school for good at the age of 15. Altogether, he had gone for only about a year, but he had learned how to read. Now he could teach himself anything he wanted. He read every book he could find. He once walked 20 miles to borrow one. It took him a long time to finish a book. Lincoln's books. Most of the books Abraham Lincoln read as a child were the ones his stepmother Sarah brought with her when she married his father. There was the Bible, of course, and also Aesop's fables. He loved these fables, which taught him how to use funny little stories to make important points. He memorized passages from Shakespeare, and he could still recite them when he was president. Another favorite book was a biography of George Washington. As a child, though Lincoln couldn't have known that someday he would be considered just as great a president. Many people thought he seemed slow and plodding, but his stepmother understood why he took so long to learn. He wanted to be sure he really understood everything. Sometimes he learned part of a book by heart. Because paper was expensive and hard to get, he read out passages on pieces of wood. When the wood got so black he couldn't see what he was writing, he would shave it off. Then he would start over again. People liked Abraham. He was so good at telling funny stories. He was also famous for practical jokes. He once managed to have two men who were getting married on the same day delivered to the wrong brides. People were still talking about the jokes years later. All right, so that was chapter 1. I will be back for chapter 2. You all have a great day.